again, everybody. I got another story here. This one was from again about a year ago through YouTube. So I wish my subscription was not in my professional name or I would comment on this video. It brought back some seriously weird memories of my narcissistic mother's husband coming home every day and literally stripping down to his tighty whities in the living room. He would leave a pile of clothes, including his belt, in this pile right where they fell. He would then flop his fat ass down on an overstuffed orange chair with his underwear gaping open. I was so mortified. Finally, when I was 11, my mother told me he had to stop going around the house in his underwear. He actually had to be told this. Up until then, he did everything, including came to the table that way. It was disgusting. I always tried to figure out who abused my brother. Some things do not make sense at all. It could have been this guy's brother, the uncle who never married, who had porn attached to his walls like wallpaper. And yes, I saw that as a child. This was a guy who had gotten into trouble as a teenager and was sent to a boys' home in the 1960s. I wonder if he was abused there and then passed it on. Quite possibly, because that type of stuff is always passed on. And she's talking about a video where I talked about my father and mother always having to be naked in the house and the underwear, and that's a part of it. And that is sexual abuse in and of itself, where they're constantly shoving their sexuality, their nakedness in your face, and it's just like, deal with it. So much hostility and rage and anger and resentment in that home 24/7. The kids were just fodder for their narcissism. Makes me sick to think about it. What's especially disturbing is they both work in a school now and have for years. Oh, wow. It's a little bitty town, can you hear the banjos playing? So they could get away with quite a bit before someone would sense something is wrong. I am still waiting for the day for both of them to show up on the news. They have no business around children. They are two of the biggest frauds to ever walk the earth. I believe they work there to cover up their insanity and so they can appear to be good Samaritans in the town. Or they just give and give and give and people clap and call them wonderful. It's nauseating. Typical narcs. Anyway, the whole underwear thing got to me. Thanks for sharing. I think you had an epiphany, and that's a big one. Narcissistic sexual abusers will always try to get their way around children, no matter what. It's amazing how many educators are sex abusers. Not only men, as we're seeing in the media today, a lot of them are women too. You see how many of these women sleeping with their male students, having orgies and gangbangs, getting caught in cars, having sex with young male students. It's happening over and over and over again. And typically the women get less time than the men, but that's a subject for another video. But if you have suspicions that these two are sexual predators and they're in a school, you need to report it. And the best place to report it would be to whatever state child agency you have, whether it be CPS, APS, whatever you call it in your state. They need to be reported because these sexual fetishes, these sexual, I don't even call it a fetish, this molesting type of in-your-face sexuality doesn't go away because it's a mental defect brought on by their personality disorder, and it needs to be reported, if not to the state agency, to the school itself. Now, whether or not somebody's going to listen to it or not is an entirely different subject. But if you're worried about, you being called a liar and this or that, that's why you can report it to a state agency, anonymous, and that's what I would do, because these personality disordered sexual predators will somehow find their way around children, whether it be teaching in a school, coaching a team, getting involved with Little League, football. I mean, over and over and over again, these are hunting grounds for narcissistic perverts who have a thing with children. So you really do need to report it to someone and let your suspicions be known. Because if they did it to you guys, did it to you as a child, there's a reason why they're working around children. There's a reason why they're there. And I would make sure it's not so they can have access. But my fear is that's exactly what is going on. So thank you for your message. I'm sorry it took so long for me to respond, as I get so many of them. But, you know, I'm glad I did, because this is an important one. You can't stay silent if you think you got a predator around children. You have to at least call it out there. Okay, and if they call you crazy, so be it. At least you can sleep at night. So thank you for your message. Thank you to everybody who's watched this video, everybody who's been contributing to the GoFundMes. They've been great. Again, if you enjoy this channel and you want to make a contribution, the link is in the description box. And remember, if you want your story out there and you make a contribution, you go right to the top of the list and I'll immediately make a video for you. Thanks again for watching. This is Ollie Matthews. I'll see you all again very shortly. Bye.